Okay, welcome everybody. Welcome to the earnings webinar. Trade important stock earnings with futures. And that's what we're going to cover today. Give me a heads up. Let me know that you can hear me. Frank, Francis, tell me you can hear me and we'll get started. I know you're out there. And I'm looking forward to teaching everybody as earnings season is getting ready to get started. So here we go. My name is Lee Goldstein. I'm the trading director for 10-Minute Trades. Don't forget that all the trades we discuss are for educational purposes. It is possible to lose money trading futures, so trade carefully. All right, earnings season is coming up. It really gets started next week. All the banks are going to start releasing their earnings. Then we get into Netflix and Amazon and a lot of exciting market moving events that we want to teach you how to trade. We invented a whole method of trading earnings with futures. And I'm going to go over today all the important tools that we use. But before we get going into earnings, I'm going to do a recap of what 10-minute trades is all about because it's very important to understand what we do because everything is part of the same system. We trade earnings, we trade market opens, we trade the market close, we trade fast moving news events. It's all part of the same methodology. We have three software strategies, and that's what I want to get into today, how we do it. We trade a method that we call appointment-based trading. We use the NinjaTrader platform, and we trade futures. So people get confused. They think that we're trading the stocks on earnings, but no, we're not. We're trading futures, and it is a method of trading that we really invented. So we know a lot about it, and we understand the ins and outs of doing it. Now, why should you even bother listening to me? Who am I? What can I do to convince you that I know what I'm talking about? Well, I think I know what I'm talking about. Why? For 10 years now, I've been involved with 10-minute trades. For 10 years, I've been studying market moving events and the way that they move and the trade software that we invented also to help us to trade these events. So here's the thing. When I was younger and when I was first getting started into trading, my family asked me to help them out with their stock portfolios. And that's how I learned trading. It's very much the same way that I learned all about computers. I was living in New York City. I was actually owned my own computer store and I bought a personal computer. I was a musician and I realized that you could hook up computers and music together and create recording studios. But the point I'm trying to make is when I got involved in computers, I became obsessed with it. I learned everything I could learn about it in as short a period of time. I really put hour and hour and hour of labor and love into learning all about computers and music because I loved it. When I first started trading stocks, the first trade I ever took, I knew that forever I was going to be hooked on stock trading or trading in general. You know, everybody goes through very similar things when they start trading. Some of us gravitate to stocks. Some of us gravitate to options. Some of us like day trading. Some of us like staying in the market for long-term trading. But you wind up finding a method that you like and you stick with it most of the time and you learn and you learn and you learn. The most successful traders are the traders that are willing to put the time into their own education. To this day, and I'm not young anymore, I'm an old dude, and I spend hours and hours and hours each week learning because every day there's something new to learn about these markets. Look what's going on now in these markets with the war and the volatility. We have software that allows us to trade this volatility. And we are doing very well in these markets, even though these markets are crazy. So why should you trust me? Because I've studied and studied and studied, and I really know what I'm talking about. So at 10-minute trades, we have a system, we have software, we have trade room access, we have a daily schedule, and we have a weekly schedule. Our daily schedule, it's not really a schedule, it's a trade report. And we send our members a special report covering events that we trade in our trade room. And I'll show you in a minute what I mean. But our system has four major elements: the weekly market mover, which is our weekly schedule, our daily market mover, which is our daily trade report, trade room access, and then our three software strategies. And they all link up together and they become a trading methodology that we teach you. So the weekly schedule, everybody can get it for free. I highly recommend that everyone get it for free so you know what's going on every week in the market. You don't want to be in a trade and get surprised by a news event being released. You didn't know it was happening. You're trading gold. Something happens, it moves gold, and it destroys your trade. If you keep track of the important weekly events, you'll know the most important events of the week where there's going to be the maximum amount of market volatility. So you could trade around those events. Or if you're like us, you learn to actually trade the event itself. Okay, what do I mean? Trade the event itself. So the other night, we told our members, come into the trade room. Yes, I know, it's late at night. It was 9:45 p.m. Eastern Time. Most people are watching The Masked Singer or something ridiculous, right? But not us. The smart members, we're in our trade room and we're getting ready to trade the New Zealand rate decision. So what does that mean? This is an event. We're going to trade it. What did I say? We had elements that make up our system. Our software installs into the Ninja Trader platform, which you're looking at right here. Our software is going to put orders on the chart right before the news comes out. We know when this news comes out. We know that this New Zealand rate statement moves the markets. We know what instrument to trade. We teach you the instrument to trade. We teach you the market to look at. We teach you the time the event is going to take place. And our software manages the trade. So watch what happened. I was waiting all day for this event because it's a good trading event. It's one of my favorites. 9:45 at night, New Zealand released their rate decision. It doesn't matter if they raised rates, lowered rates. What happens is our software is going to put the orders on the chart. Watch. I said 9:45. It's 10 o'clock. I apologize. 10 o'clock at night. So a couple of seconds before 10 o'clock, our software puts orders on the chart. Watch. Right here. You're going to see these little X's. Those are our orders. When New Zealand releases the news all about their rate decision, we're going to get pulled into the market because the market's going to move. We're trading the New Zealand dollar futures. We trade futures. It's no different than trading the mini S&P futures, the Dow futures. It's just a different future that relates to New Zealand. That's all. You trade it the exact same way you trade the Dow futures. But you need to know which instrument to trade on which event. That's especially important with earnings. You're not going to trade the YM on Amazon's earnings because the NQ moves much better. So we got up, stayed up, I should say, instead of going to bed early that night. We told people to come into our trade room, 10 o'clock. The news comes out a couple of seconds before the news comes out. This little X is our long order. The lower X is our short order. Watch what happens. The market now knows what the interest rate decision is. We have integrated investing.com's website into our software so that we know they did not raise the rates. You could see there was a very small move, and most people would say, hey, nothing is happening on this news. I'm going to cancel this event. There's no point in bothering. But we know because we watch this event over and over and over. It happens 8 times a year. We watch it every time. We trade it every time. And I know it's a delayed response. I kept my orders on the chart and I just waited. And we were talking in the trade room about waiting for an opportunity. When you look at the market, there's a high of day indicator right above us. We got filled in 35 seconds. The market started to slowly move up. I placed my second order. I had 2 orders. My second order, I placed it close to the high of day. And my first order, I had it placed, maybe halfway to the high of day. The idea is if our first order gets filled, we protect that profit by moving our stop above our entry. The stop is an area on the chart that takes you out of a trade if a trade changes direction. So if you're making money and the trade changes direction and you start losing money, you protect your profit. So I started getting a little greedy and I moved my target a little bit too high. And then I thought, you know what? It's going to hit the high of day. I brought down the target. I'm going to bring it down a tiny bit more. Suffice it to say, we got 1.5 targets. It then eventually did burst to the high of day, made about $250 in 1 minute on that trade. Every person in the trade room that traded that event with us made money. It was easy. You could see it was profitable almost from the first moment. If you just waited the 30 seconds that we knew we should wait, it was then easy as taking candy from a baby. That was what I call a little gift from the market because it was easy. So if you have our schedule and you're learning to trade with us, you would have known to come into our trade room at 9:45 that evening to get ready for that 10 o'clock event. I'm not going to bother trading at 10 o'clock at night unless the event I'm trading offers a high probability of making money. And that's one of the most important concepts that we teach. Trade the best behaving events. Why would you want to trade events that are difficult, that don't always make money, or that don't often make money, that whip around? Sometimes they go straight up, sometimes they have huge reversals. We study all these events and we pick the events that offer the most tradable types of results. And that applies 100% to earnings also. And I'll show you a whole bunch of earnings trades as we get into this. Currently, you can look at our schedule and you can see what we're doing right now. Every morning we trade the market open. Every morning. Every morning we are, and I'm not joking, every morning, 90% of our mornings, we are profitable on our market opens. 90%. No joke. We are then trading the important events throughout the day that we feel are worth trading. Today, we traded the natural gas storage report. It didn't have a very interesting move, but we traded GDP, the PCE price, and unemployment claims. They all released together. And we had a setup that we told our members, you know what? This setup is risky, but this setup will be a nice profit if it works. We have had really good success trading one of our setups that we call the trap trade. It's a specialized reversal trade. And we had a setup that traded a specialized reversal. And here's what happened on a very difficult event to trade. When you have 3 news reports releasing together, that makes it harder to trade because one event might be bullish, One event might be bearish for the market. One event might be just as expected. So it's complicated how the market might move. Well, we have a strategy that works great when there's confusion. If the market goes up and changes direction, we make money when it changes direction. So right here on the left, I'm trading what we call a trap trade. If the market goes up, we sell the market. If the market goes down, we buy the market. And that's exactly what happened this morning. The market went up and we were put in the market short. Immediately, the market started selling off. And I was able to move my stop into profit so that I couldn't lose money on the trade no matter what after I was able to move my stop. When the trade was over, and it was over in less than 2 minutes, we had exactly $400 profit on that trade. It was an excellent winning trap trade. We teach our members how to trade the trap trade, the breakout trades, everything that we do, we teach our members. And we teach them how to use all of the tools I'm going to show you how to use today to help you to trade earnings. We pride ourselves on trying to find as many free tools as possible, as many inexpensive tools as possible. We know that trading is expensive. We know that if you're a prop account trader, you might want to have 2 or 3 prop accounts. It's not free. You got to pay your monthly fees if you don't pass your first eval. It's not inexpensive to be a trader, and we want to make it as reasonably priced as possible so you can make money as soon as possible. Here we go. If you want to get our free schedule, I'll show you at the end of this webinar exactly where to go and how to do it. It's free. You can keep it on your desk, and you'll know the important events that are taking place every week. Second element in our system is our daily trade report. Not all the events that we trade, but many of the events we trade have a daily trade report, and they explain how the event will be traded. Some events don't get the report because they're what we call trade room events. They're events that you really need to be in the trade room to trade them because they're dependent upon the market behavior at that exact moment. Our DMM, Daily Market Mover reports, are more geared towards events that trade every month or every week over and over in a similar manner. And for those, we generate our Daily Market Mover report, and those reports help our members learn how to trade the event the day before. The Daily Market Mover we send to our members the day before the event takes place so they can study, learn about the event, get ready for it, and have the setup because our trade setup is on that report and they know what we're going to do. And then our third element, the software that we use to do all these trades. NewsTrader version 11, and I'll show you exactly what it is one of our main strategies. But all of our strategy are custom add-ons to NinjaTrader. They all have multiple setups. They all automate your trades if you want to automate. Some of them are discretionary and you choose when to enter. All of our trade setups are obviously totally controlled by you. But the beauty of automation is when there's a fast-moving market event, you don't have to fumble around trying to put your orders on a chart right before the event is coming out and the markets are starting to move. You can concentrate on managing the trade. So again, what do I mean by that? How do you manage an event? Let's look at a earnings trade. All right, let's see. So this was a Honeywell Caterpillar earnings morning. We had a crappy move out of Honeywell. And you can see, like every trade's not going to be a winner. Every trade's not going to be a big add-on to your account. This particular trade, it just filled and it didn't follow through. So there wasn't very much money to make. We have a very small stop, so not a lot of money was lost on the trade. Maybe $100, $120. And in fact, this trade We actually managed our way out of this one with a tiny profit. So when I say manage your way out of a trade, what initially happens is, especially in earnings trades, we have something called a range trade. And the range trade creates a range based on time, and then it puts orders above and below the range. When the range gets broken, pierced by market movement, we get pulled into the market. That's exactly what happened on this Honeywell trade. Honeywell did not follow through to our target, but you'll notice it kind of hung around where we got pulled into the market. So we were able to manage the trade. We made our target smaller. We made our exit, our stop smaller, so that little moves would get us out of the trade either with a small profit, which is what happened here. No, a small loss because it reversed. See what happened? It reversed. We had moved our stop up, so the loss was very small. It reversed and it took us out. No big harm done. 25 minutes later, we got ready for Caterpillar. And here's Caterpillar. Same concept. We have a range trade. Okay? What do I mean by a range trade? So Caterpillar, we do the studying. We know that Caterpillar releases their earnings right on time, 6:30 in the morning. So we can set up our software to put orders on the chart right as they are getting ready to release their earnings. And then when the market moves from that earnings release, and that's what causes, what triggers an earnings trade. It's the market data being released and then our orders being filled because we're ready before the earnings with our orders already on the chart. The range trade creates four simple little lines. The top line is our long order when the range is done calculating. So think of it this way. When we come into the morning trade room to trade earnings, we might create a range that only lasts a minute. So for 1 minute, the market moves up and down, a little bit here, a little bit there, and it creates a range. The two inner lines are the size of the range. It could be 10 ticks, it could be 50 ticks. More often than not, in the morning, the range is small. The outer line, above and below, those are our orders. Above is our long order, below is our short order. When the range time is over, our orders are put on the chart, and then a few seconds later, the earnings are released, the market moves, and look at this move. Caterpillar explodes to the upside. It already hit my first target and moved my stop to an area of safety so that if the trade reverses, I cannot lose money under any circumstances because it's already hit my first target. And if it reverses, I'm only going to lose 1 or 2 ticks because my stop is almost at break even. But this Caterpillar trade moved very high and almost filled my second target. Let's watch and see if it did. I don't remember this exact trade. I have a million of them. This one actually burst through my second target. We made over $450 on that trade. That was an 11-second trade. That was a recent Caterpillar trade, their most recent earnings. Watch it again, fully real time. So here's the orders on the chart. Earnings come out. Stop moves to safety automatically. I'm trailing. Over, trade done, $450. Now there's a whole bunch of elements that make up creating this event and transmitting it and teaching it to you. And it's not complicated. It's actually very, very easy. If you look at all these charts that you can see, on the left, you're just looking at NinjaTrader, their normal chart. In the middle, you're looking at my Thinkorswim chart. And I'm going to explain how to use Thinkorswim for $50 for a whole year. Actually, $50 forever. Why do you even want to use Thinkorswim? Look, Thinkorswim shows me the stock movement so that here on the left, remember what I said, we invented a method to trade earnings using futures. We're also looking at the actual stock movement. We want to know, we want to see, how are the earnings? Are they positive? Are they moving up? Are they negative? Are they moving down? If we have tools that let us look at the actual stock movement, that's going to help us manage our trade. If we're noticing that the movement is herky-jerky and the earnings are inconsistent, maybe the guidance was good, maybe the revenue was bad, and it's not bursting in one direction, that might make us take a profit more quickly. If the stock price is just moving up and up and up and up, that might make us try to manage the trade longer for more profit. So using these tools while we're trading the futures with our Ninja Trader and our software helps us to manage the trades. We teach you how to do it, but we also, when you're new, I'm talking through it in the room. I'm telling you and showing you what I'm doing at the exact moment that I'm doing it. So you can learn by practicing to do it with me. So look at what we've got going here. Thinkorswim are these dark charts on the left, in the middle. On the right here, we've got TradingView Free. The TradingView, now everybody knows TradingView because it's become one of the most popular trading platforms known to traders these days. It got very popular over the past years or so. It used to be TradeStation and other things, but TradingView is a great product. This is their free version. It's easy to use, number one. It's free, number two. And when you type in a stock symbol, right? If I type in NVDA, it shows me something great. Right on the top line, it shows me the instrument that, not the instrument, but it shows me the exchange that NVIDIA is most heavily being used in, the NASDAQ. So that's one major hint that if I'm going to trade NVIDIA earnings, I'm going to use the NQ or the MNQ. If I'm trading a stock like IBM, right? I type in IBM, and interesting, IBM shows up on the NYSE as a heavily weighted stock on that exchange. But we also know from experience that IBM is heavily weighted on the Dow, and the YM futures, because they are Dow futures, are very, very good for trading IBM. So TradingView Free, not only does it show us stock movement before the market opens, after the market opens for free, but it also gives us some great knowledge about what exchange we may want to trade that particular company on. That's very valuable information, extremely helpful, and if I can give this to you for free, you got it. So TradingView is now something you can watch the stock futures, you can watch the stock earnings before and after the market. It works, like I said, some earnings take place before the market opens, some earnings take place after. That's when probably 95% of all earnings take place. So we always use TradingView Free as one of the charts we're looking at while we're trading earnings, in addition to our Thinkorswim. I just like having extra information. Sometimes you'll get a situation where maybe the chart on Thinkorswim just isn't easy to see, and maybe you'll see the move better on TradingView. So because it's important to see the actual stock movement whenever possible, I like to have more than one method of doing that. And then there's this great widget that's part of Thinkorswim. This up here on the right, you could see it's just a news feed. In the old days, so we've been trading earnings with futures for probably about 7 years. In the early days of doing it, I knew nothing. I didn't know anything about trading earnings with futures. We just accidentally discovered that earnings create fantastic moves in futures. And then we started doing it. We just started looking at Yahoo's website. They didn't always show the stock movement after the market closed. It was really difficult. We didn't know when the earnings were being released. And once we got smart and realized that Thinkorswim had this news feed, that news feed shows us exactly when the stock releases their earnings. There are times when a move might not be very dramatic, and you might not know that the earnings were released if you didn't have a definitive news feed to read and tell that the earnings were released. So having a news feed, what does that do? It keeps you much safer because you're not going to allow your orders to sit on a chart if the earnings are already out and you didn't get filled, that you had no trade. Maybe you got the time wrong. Maybe the earnings came out early, and that happens. One of the things about earnings that makes it different from trading economic events like jobs reports, the NFP, the non-farm payrolls that everybody hears about. For instance, tomorrow's core CPI. Tomorrow's core CPI will be released exactly at 8:30 because that's what the government does. They release their reports exactly when they say they're going to, 95% of the time. With stock earnings, there's no rule, and the government, they have rules that they have to follow. And that's why they do that. There's insider trading rules, and they don't want people to, have that insider information if the data isn't released at the same time for everyone. But stock earnings are different. Companies can release their earnings when they want to. They can announce a 4:30 release, and they might still release them at 4:35 or 5 a.m. instead of 5:30. That's very important because think about the way that we trade. Our trades are very dependent upon time. We study events, not always technical analysis, but we are actually studying release times. We're studying tick movement. We're studying how reliable and in what direction did the earnings move the market. We're not necessarily using Elliott wave or Fibonacci retracements on most of our trades. That's not what our strength is. Our strength is finding these other ways of looking at events, and we set up our trades based on movement and time. So there's rules and there's regulations that we use to help us to decide what are the best earnings trades. And there are important rules, and here are some of the rules. For us to be able to trade a stock, they must follow these rules. Number one, they must release their earnings the same time over and over again. Now, the same time with earnings could mean within 1 to 2 minutes of when they announce. We prefer the best setups are usually if a company says they're releasing their earnings, for instance, at 6:30 in the morning, like Caterpillar does. We want to see those earnings come out, within 5 or 10 seconds of 6:30. If we have to wait around a minute or even 2 minutes, it means that your orders might have to be sitting on the chart waiting for the earnings to come out. That creates more risk. So one of the prerequisites that we need is stock earnings being released reliably at the same time, quarter after quarter. We don't generally trade companies. For instance, if one quarter they release their earnings at 4 p.m. and the next quarter they release them at 8 p.m., that makes it impossible to create a reliable setup. So that's the most important element. Release the earnings on time. And then, of course, the second most important element is it has to move the market. There's very important companies, when they release their earnings, they just don't move the market very much. And we know very often why that's the case. A lot of our members have always bugged us and said, hey, how come you guys aren't trading Costco? It's $1,000 stock, which is another prerequisite. $5 stocks don't generally move markets. 150 and higher valued stocks do trend to move markets. $1,000 stocks have a great opportunity to move the markets. Costco is a very expensive stock. It doesn't move the markets when they release their earnings. We learned, and of course we learned because we make it our business to learn this. Well, every month Costco releases earnings sales data. So they don't surprise the market with a quarterly earnings release. Quarterly earnings releases, quote unquote, surprise the market. And those surprises are what create earnings moves in the market. So that's very important. The stock must move the market. So generally, it's a stock that also would have very high revenues. Stocks that only have millions of dollars in revenues don't generally move the markets. Stocks that have billions in revenue and are priced over $100, they often will move the market. And that brings up another very important tool that we use to decide which trades and which stocks to use. So let me show you something else. Just a quick recap, about appointment-based trading. It's a simple approach to the market. It's all based on time. You can schedule your trades in advance, up to a week or longer in advance. And this type of trading is no riskier than any other type of trading. The key is having great software to use to create your setups. There's 3 categories that create all of the trades that we take: high impact economic reports, GDP, jobs reports, FOMC statements, category number 1, earnings reports like we're talking about today, and market open and closes. Those are the 3 categories. There are hundreds of trades within those categories, and we have studied many, many, many of them over the years to find the best ones to trade. But I digress. I started to say the big earnings trades, how do we find them? One of our favorite websites that we use is earningswhispers.com, and we teach our members the ins and outs of using this website. Yes, you can just simply go to the website. At the very top, they have their best hits, or the greatest hits, as I like to call it. If you hover over them, it shows you the date of the earnings release, the time. So it's a real easy way to get your schedule going. Start creating an earnings schedule, earningswhispers.com. And then if you click on one of those earnings companies, you get some great, very, very useful information. First off, they show you what happened last quarter, and they show you what time those earnings were released. So great piece of news. Netflix missed their expectations. We don't really care if they made it, they didn't make it, they were good, they were bad. We only care if they moved the market. So what we care more about, what was the date and were they on time? If Netflix is very off of the time, then it will show up on this little chart here. Also, of course, it's going to show us Netflix next earnings, and they are next week, Thursday at 4 p.m. So we'll get ready for a Netflix trade. And very honestly, Netflix has been a tough one to trade. Why? Because companies that release their earnings exactly at 4 o'clock are extremely difficult to trade. Understand this, and many of you, if you've ever tried trading the market close, and we trade the market close, we have some great market close trades, but I'll tell you something funny. One of our best market close trades, we trade it 10 minutes before the close. And that's because when you trade right at the market close at 4 p.m., you're getting the most unusually inconsistent move in most cases. It's the hardest time to take a trade. One of the hardest times of the day to take a trade. But look at what we do using our software 10 minutes before the market close, because again, we do the studying. Maybe one of our members did some studying and said, hey, I've noticed this weird move 10 minutes before the market closes every day. Check it out. What do you think? We check it out. We vet it. We come up with a setting if it's true. Every day at 1550, there is a significant move in the MNQ or the NQ that allows you very often to capture a positive money-making trade. This trade we took the first day of April. NQ trade, it chopped for a second. Watch what happens. Those are our orders on the chart. Bingo. That was a $300 trade in our prop account. And by the way, prop accounts, absolutely acceptable way to trade earnings. And many of the events that we trade, many of our members are taking payouts from their prop accounts. I've been showing this one particular payout because it's one that one of our members sent us. Nitin, who's been a great trader, a great sharer in our trade room, has been taking very steady payouts. And Langford, another one of our members who helps us figure out earnings trades, has been taking payouts using some of our market opens. It is absolutely within the realm of very normal probability to take payouts using prop trading. So it's important to understand you can do it. Put your mind to anything and you can learn to do it. Here's another end of day trade that we took. But look at the time, 1548, right? 1549. I'm getting ready for a 1550 trade, 10 minutes before the open, because I know there's a safer move to have at 10 minutes before the close. I said open, I meant close. 10 minutes before 4, we get another great move, a winning trade to the downside. We had two $300 trades. Actually, I showed you the same trade twice. Here's the second trade. This one, they look a lot alike, but this one, if I remember, I think it shoots up. I thought I had one that shot up. Nevertheless, perfect, beautiful, end of the market winning trades. But I digress. What I was explaining is why you have to be careful about taking an earnings trade that releases exactly at 4 o'clock. The point I'm trying to make here is 4 o'clock earnings releases get interfered with the market close. So you need to learn that. You don't want to learn it by losing money. You want to learn it by not taking certain trades that we have found lose money because they're too close to when the market closes. Now, we've learned something about Netflix. They've slightly started delaying their earnings so that we went through a period where Netflix was untradeable. When we first started trading earnings, Netflix was tradable. They were releasing their earnings a few minutes after 4. Then all of a sudden something changed and we were losing money on our Netflix trades and we couldn't quite figure out why because it was complicated. They just slightly changed the time that they released their earnings and we finally realized it. And once we realized that, now we have a slightly later trade. Even 45 seconds after the market close can be all the difference in the world because remember what I said. Some of our trades are only nanoseconds or seconds long. So a very short amount of time can affect a trade. And it brings up one other tool that we teach our members. We teach our members how to make sure their computer is in sync. It's very easy to make sure your computer is in proper time sync. So when you put a trade on for 4:09 and 29 seconds, it trades at 4:09 and 29 seconds. You don't want it to trade 4:11 because that might ruin the trade. You might miss it. All of these tools are part of everything that we do, and we teach our members, again, how to use these tools. Let me show you, again, some of the tools we were talking about. So earningswhispers.com. Best results, best greatest hits up at the top. The most important things, you can type in the ticker symbol of any stock that you want, and you can research it. Intel, for instance. When were their last earnings? April 23rd is coming up now. Their last earnings, January 22nd. And look, Intel, they announce 4 o'clock. We know, And we also know because we trade Intel very successfully, they released their earnings at 401. And it says it, 401 on earningswhispers.com. So earningswhispers.com very often helps us in setting up a trade. You can also look at a chart. They have weekly charts right here. You can see how much did Intel move. You can change that weekly chart to a daily chart, and they have the exact earning on that chart. So you get a good idea what kind of stock movement you get. And then the most important thing that earningswhispers.com has that helps me create my earnings schedule is their calendar. You just click the word calendar, and then I can choose, for instance, if I want to look at what's going on next Monday, click on Monday, and there's not a lot going on. After the close, it's showing me up here, after the close. This little control panel, if I click it left, it shows me what's going on before the open. Goldman Sachs is before the open Monday. That might be something we're interested in. All right. After the market closes, there's nothing going on Monday. Click the control panel again. JP Morgan, Tuesday before the open, CarMax, all of these companies, but also there's very good other info. The time of the earnings release that they're expected, the estimate of what the earnings will be, that's not as important to us, but the revenue estimate is important because remember what I said before, we're looking to trade companies that have billions in revenues and have a relatively expensive price on their stock. JP Morgan, they fit the boxes. They tick the boxes, we call it. $320 stock, a $300 stock right at the moment. They release their a $320 stock. They show what time they're releasing their earnings. They are billions in revenue. So they tick the boxes that are helpful. But if you notice something, if you look carefully at their previous release, it said 648. And that was not the time that they were expected to be released. We know for a fact that there are some of the banks, they're really unreliable about when they release their earnings. And we are going to avoid them this quarter because they've been difficult to trade. Now, sometimes you can trade around earnings, and we have a whole strategy that allows us to trade around news. That's called the magnet strategy. I'm not going to get into the magnet today. We've had dozens of webinars on the magnet. We trade magnets every day in our trade room, and it is something you absolutely want to learn how to do because you can trade around the news with magnets, and it's a great, great tool. So earningswhispers.com, fantastic free tool that we use to trade earnings and create our schedule. Next, let me grab more of our slides here. Thinkorswim I showed you. Thinkorswim, the stock prices are shown before and after the market. All you have to do is open up a Thinkorswim account. It costs $50 and you never have to put any more money in. You can get stock data, futures data, options data. It is a fantastic tool. And you get that schedule, the release, that little news widget. Thinkorswim is a great trading platform also. TradingView free. I showed you that already. Now, NASDAQ.com has a great little, let me show you. It's got a great spot that gives me a piece of information that's very helpful. Let me show you what I mean. So this is the website, NASDAQ.com. They have a link, and I'll post this link right now into the chat so you have it because it's tricky to find. And it does something really cool. It shows the last 4 dates of a company's earnings release. It's tricky to find dates and times of earnings releases. Why? Because the companies aren't required by law to tell you exactly when they're going to do it. So it's harder to round up the information. It's very different than jobs reports and those types of events. And those are calendars also that we use. Calendars like Earnings Whispers, we use investing.com. And I'll show you a couple of those calendars also. But this particular link that I just posted into the chat there, it gives you, if you type in a symbol, any symbol that you want to type, maybe you're looking to see what's going on with AMD, Advanced Micro, right? You type in AMD and it shows you the last 4 reported times that AMD released their earnings. If you're going to back test, if you're going to use a really important feature that's part of NinjaTrader called Market Playback, the Market Playback feature lets you replay previous time that already passed. So you can test the market to see if an earnings release moved the market. So it just makes it real easy to find a full year's worth of previous earnings dates on any stock that you type in. So that link is tremendously helpful. And then I'm always using Financial Juice. Financial Juice Pro. They have something called a voice data feed. First of all, they have a great calendar and they show you important news events just like our calendar, but they do it daily. So you could keep track of what's going on, small reports, little reports, Trump schedule, things like that. But they have this voice news. Their voice news is a squawk box. So if you're trading really big news events, they're talking the results of those news events. And that helps us very much to trade manage while we're in a trade. So Financial Juice Pro, a great tool that we use to trade earnings. So let me show you a couple of earnings trades because they are a lot of fun to trade and the good ones are so good. They're such a pleasure to make money on. We just love them. A couple of member screenshots. We love showing member screenshots. Caterpillar earnings, that last Caterpillar I showed you, one of our members traded in 2 separate prop accounts, $1,000 in one, over 600 in his other. Another member, Boeing, all right? And let me just change something here, move out, just cover up something, even though it was covered up anyway. One of our members traded Boeing in our trade room. Recent trade, over $270. That was probably about a 30-second trade trading Boeing. Boeing is another one of those stocks that we trade every quarter. Cisco has been an excellent one to trade. Here's a member. He sent us a great video. I know it's a little bit hard to see. Let me try and explain what happens here. This green line is his candle that he traded. The market's going to go up. And when it's done, he has over $1,400 in profits trading earnings. Watch the candle. It's going to go up. Chops around a little bit. Is it a short? Oh, I'm sorry. The trade was already over. So here is the trade, the beginning of the trade. He's got 2 orders on the chart and is out if it goes bad. And that explosion up was where he made his profit. He started $900 positive, so that Cisco trade was a $500 trade. It took less than a minute. Okay, there's the price exploding up, going through his orders. It's a little hard to see, but I know you believe me. I'm not going to show you fake trades. Cisco, a great, great winning trade. Let me just show you a couple of other of my favorites. Amazon has been a fantastic stock to trade. We have a member who trades from Kenya, Roz from Kenya, $309 trading Amazon earnings. By the way, you could see she had a $1,400 profitable day that day. A lot of that would have been trading she was doing with us in the trade room with us. Here's what an Amazon trade can look like. Amazon's one of our favorites. Amazon is a family money trade. What's a family money trade? It's a trade that if I was trading my own family's money, I would recommend to my family to trade their money on this trade. That's how reliable the Amazon trade is. So Amazon releases their earnings a little bit after 4. Look at that explosion in price. That was over $550 literally in a nanosecond. And look at the move on Thinkorswim. That's the stock move. On the left side is our futures move. That's why we trade futures with stock earnings. Let me show you Boeing, because Boeing was that screenshot I showed you from Francis. Boeing has been a good stock to trade. They release their earnings very reliably, 7:30 in the morning. Let me get the screen into the right place. It also shows a perfect, understandable range trade. Top line is our long order, bottom line is our short order. And then what happens is the market's going to chop around before the earnings come out. In 10 seconds, Boeing is going to release their earnings, and you're going to see it's going to explode one way or the other. Let's see which way it goes. Here comes Boeing. And Boeing pops up. Right now we're filled, and let's see if this one continues. There it goes, starting to move up. There it goes. Want to get it to hits my first target, move my stop to safety. Now I can't lose money on the trade. If it keeps moving up, I make more and more money. If it pulls back, then I get taken out of the trade with a target 1 profit. Sometimes you trail and you might make a target and a half. So lots of times you'll make more than a target because you trailed. So there's all different. Let me just show you one more. Let me show you a Facebook. Facebook has been a great one. Facebook, let me show you one of my favorites. Made over 1,000. It'll always be Facebook to us. So this was a fantastic Facebook trade, and Facebook is still very profitable now, even though this was an older trade. I just have a great video of it. We study very hard to know when Facebook is going to release their earnings. They're sometimes a little bit tricky about the time. So our orders, you could see, they're sitting on the chart, and we're waiting. We're waiting for the earnings to get released. And that's a key reason why the companies that tell us exactly when those earnings are coming out are easier to trade. There's the explosion. Facebook was a little bit late that day. Didn't matter. We kept our setup on the chart. We made more than $1,000 on that event. And you saw how fast that trade was. It only took a few seconds. That's why I love earnings trades. I showed you what triggers the trade. The news comes out, our orders are on the chart, you get pulled in, and that's how you make your money. You can trade in a prop account. So here is a fantastic deal. Earnings season starts next week, folks. That's the truth. It starts next week. Netflix is next week, I believe. If not Netflix, all the banks are next week. Morgan, all the big ones. And we want to teach you how to do this. We recently raised our prices. Our prices doubled. Our pro membership price is $197 a month now. If you would love to join us for all of our future earning trade rooms for the whole next quarter, and also get all of our news trades, our trap trades, our breakouts, our magnets, all of our strategies, everything, a pro membership, you'll get our news trader software, the daily market mover reports that I showed you that we send to our members the day before the event. So many events, you'll know how to trade them the day before. Our trade room is open to you all week long. All of the trades, whether it's earnings, economic reports, nothing's being held back just because this is an earnings sale. Our trap trade, I showed you the trap trade at the early part of the seminar, how we make money in it, trading in prop accounts. Earnings season literally next week. Family money trades, those are our best of the best events. And there are quite a few earnings trades that are family money trades. United Health is one of the best earnings trades in our company's history. We've been trading United Health probably for 3 years. I don't remember a single losing trade on United Health. I cannot think of one. I'm serious. I can't think of one. Let me show you a United Health, what it looks like. I'll never forget the morning that I woke up and forgot to put my software on live. And I traded United Health in Sim, and it was a monster move. Better than this. And this was a good move. That's an explosive move to the upside. That is a very profitable trade because it goes through all your targets. That's United Health. It's been trading profitably. If we've had one loser in 3 years, that would be a lot. But we're going to include all of those earnings trades, all of our breakouts, our range trades, oil reports, jobs reports, magnet trades. I'll guide you step by step in every trade room. You're going to get our news trader software, the magnet strategy, the trap trade strategy, daily market movers, all of our access, everything. Remember what I said, our 10-Minute Trade Pro membership is now $197 a month. So here's the deal. We're going to do a 50% off. Why? Why do we want to do 50% off? We're going to charge the price of our 1 month membership, but you're going to get 3 months. It's $199 for 3 months. Includes everything. All software strategies, everything. Keep that in mind because it's a special link and it doesn't say software on the sale page. I'm telling you now, all software is included. It's in this webinar. You have my word. All software included. 50%, $199 for 3 months. But this deal expires Friday at midnight. Why is it important to do 3 months? Well, what if you're new and you don't know anything about the way we trade at 10-Minute Trades? Wouldn't you like to not have to rush so you could learn in a leisurely pace to learn the methodology the right way? Not having to rush, learning a system. It does take time. No system can be traded in 1 minute. And when we do 3 months, it gives you the ability to just take your time, learn with us in the trade room, relax while you're doing it, enjoy it, and not feel like you have to worry about a subscription being re-upped in 30 days. This is a 3-month subscription. If you want to stay, it'll auto renew for $199. You can lock in our old prices also. If you like trading with us, it's a way to get our old prices. But the deal expires at midnight. Members love us. These are member screenshots. $1,700 Doc sending us trades that he's traded. Raz from Kenya, $530 on a trade that I'm not sure what that trade was. Looks like the NQ could have been earnings, could have been CPI. So many different trades that our members are trading with us. We're offering this pro membership. We care about our members. If you have any questions, reach me at help@10minutetrades.com. Check out our YouTube channel also. Just Google, 10-Minute Trades YouTube. We have tons of open trade rooms up on YouTube. Win, lose, and draw. We don't take a trade room down because we had a bad trade. There's tons of good trades, plenty of crappy trades, plenty of medium trades, plenty of awesome trades, open trades that we took this week. And if you want our free schedule, just go to www.10minutetrades.com, and here's what you do if you want our free schedule. Just click the words "Get Free Training Video" and follow what it says. Put your email in, and we will start sending you our free weekly schedule. That's all you have to do. 10minutetrades.com, get the free video, and we will send you the schedule. I believe that you need the magnet strategy, the live trading room, the trading software, a teacher who cares. That will help you succeed in the market. What I'm going to do is post our offer link into the chat because it's not one of those short, easy links. But I highly recommend that you take advantage of earnings season with us. We make money trading earnings, and we are going to trade the best of the best in this earnings season. But to wrap up these incredible prices, you've got to sign up by tomorrow at midnight. All right? One more time, everything you get, all our strategies, everything. I will teach you the appointment-based trading method. Choose the events you want to trade. Create your own trading schedule. That's one of the beauties of what we do. Create your own schedule. You don't have to take every trade that I take. If you're working a full-time job, trade the events that are fitting your schedule. Earnings season lasts 3 months. That's the other reason it's so important to take advantage of this 3-month deal. Signing up for 1 month for $197, which is our regularly monthly deal, I thought that that wasn't a good way to do this. So I decided I'm going to cut the sale price 50%. Cut our price 50%. I'm going to get yelled at by my boss, absolutely. But you're going to get 3 months so you can do this the right way. So you know, here you go. This is our order sheet. Just put your name and email in. I promise all software is included, $199. Go to step 2, fill your data in, and you're now a member. You'll hear from me very quickly after you sign up. And if you signed up today, you could be in our trade room tomorrow. Okay? Earnings season lasts 3 months. Enjoy all the trade rooms and events. Take your time learning the correct trading methodology. So go pro, everybody. All strategies, $199 for 3 months, but it expires Friday at midnight. I want to thank you all for giving me your time. I always appreciate it. You cannot believe how much it means to me that you spend your time with me. I truly mean it. I truly thank you. And I'll see you all in the trade room maybe tomorrow. Take care, everyone.